as have a single submission. That's what I'm saying. Can multiple students have a single submission in this ER diagram? Edward, why? Hey guys, is Edward correct? Exactly. Only one student is allowed. Blackboard basically does not allow me to have a group by submission for every groups, right? Exactly. Exactly. Because of that one versus all relationship, that is the same thing with Blackboard, right? The Blackboard's internal database does not allow me to have one submission for multiple students, right? And essentially internally, that is what this database sort of looks like, right? So given different things, given different um, sort of interactions, we can sort of infer what the underlying database is like, right? Okay. Okay, so we also talked, so these were all strong entity sets, right? So every student needs to have a submission, and basically every assignment needs to have a submission as well. But these are all partial relationships. The other thing that we also talked about was weak entity sets, right? So weak entity sets are essentially cases where uh, the particular entity, that is the submission entity sets entity tuple, that is version, itself does not distinguish all submissions, but it needs to be combined with other values in the strong entity sets to have an identifying distinguishing factor. So in this case, the submission version. So for example, you guys can submit multiple homeworks at the same time, version 0, version 1, version 2, and so on. But every student has their own set of versions, right? If I say that get me version 0 of the homework, that does not make sense. But if I say get me Edward's version 0 of the homework, that makes sense. Together, Edward's and version 0 together make up a single submission. So that was weak entity set, right? So you say that student name and the version of the submission together bring up a single particular submission. Version itself does not actually represent a particular submission, right? So in these sort of situations, what would be the appropriate primary keys? So we have we have version number, but itself, it does not make any sense. But we have strong entity set primary keys, username for the student, assignments short name, that is Edward homework 1 version 0, right? That those three things together make up a single submission for a homework, right? So these three things together would make up the primary key for that submission, right? Exactly. Okay. There are certain things that we cannot simply represent and convert a ternary relationship into a binary relationship. For example, this particular relationship that says that employee branch together, so an employee working at a particular branch, Jonathan working at New York, cannot have multiple jobs. Jonathan at New York cannot be a manager and a sales guy at the same time, right? Jonathan at New York has to be the manager. Jonathan at California, Jonathan can work in multiple locations. Jonathan can work in Kansas as a sales guy. That is fine. But Jonathan in New York has to have a single job, right? That is what this particular ER diagram says, right? So these sort of relations, there are certain set of relations that simply cannot be broken down into binary relationships. So sometimes we might still end up requiring ternary relationships, but these are sort of rare. I believe that the exam or the exam that we have will require you to actually implement a ternary relationship. That is a relationship that has three or more entity sets that are being related to each other. But essentially the same reason applies that that we talked about in slide 8, that is when we are converting a ternary relationship to a binary set of relationships, it cannot constrain the ternary relationship in the same sort of way as in a binary relationship as we did for the ternary relationship, right? Okay. Okay, so that was essentially your different types of relationships that we can have. Now, are there any questions? So before we begin, so next we will talk about essentially converting an ER diagram into its corresponding schema or its relationship model. So before we do that, any questions so far about this thing? About ternary, binary relationships, arrows, primary keys, and so on. So, no? Okay. So now that we sort of have an idea about what these ER diagrams can represent, the next thing that we need to talk about, and this is also part of your assignment or sorry, exam as well, is we need to convert this ER diagram that we have into a corresponding SQL code or relational model, right? There are programs out there that would actually allow you to design an ER diagram and convert that into a DDL file, that is create table files, right? But imagine that you are that program. Given that diagram, how would you convert that into a schema? So the next thing that we will talk about is this particular thing, that is, how do we convert an ER diagram into its implementation schema? Mainly, there are three main components to this conversion process, that is specify the schema of that relationship that we designed for the ER diagram. Then we specify what would be the primary keys for those new relations that we created, converting it from the schemas. And the other thing is we need to specify any foreign keys that would be related to multiple schemas in case they are related to each other, right? So we need to make sure that these three things are sort of taken care of. Converting an ER diagram into a schema, converting ER diagram and adding their corresponding primary keys, and then finally relating multiple entities or multiple schemas together in terms of their foreign keys. That is all of the things that we need to do in order to convert an ER diagram into its corresponding definition language, right? SQL definition language. Okay. So firstly, let's look at strong entity sets. How do we convert a strong entity set into its corresponding schema? Then we will look into weak entity sets, and then we will look into relations. How do we connect multiple entity sets together? How do we convert that? And then we will talk about weak entity sets and stuff like that. So strong entity sets. The first thing that we know about strong entity sets is that they do not require another table's key to be complete, right? Remember this version number. The submission version number required other keys from other tables to become a complete key, right? However, a student's username or the assignment's name itself did not require anything else to become a complete key. These were all primary keys on their own, right? So that is what we mean by a strong entity set. They do not require other foreign keys. And so their primary keys are our own primary keys. We don't need to look at other tables. We can directly convert a strong entity set into its corresponding schema without looking at anything else. So the example would be, let's say that we have this ER diagram that is location, that has latitude, longitude, description, blah, blah, blah. When I last visited that particular latitude, longitude, stuff like that. We can convert this particular entity set, which is a strong entity set. Why? Because all of these are primary keys. None of these are weak entity sets. That is, none of these need other values to represent themselves or every tuple within themselves, right? So latitude and longitude are primary keys because they're underlined. So the corresponding schema would basically be the name of the ER diagram, location, and within brackets, the set of attributes that we have, longitude, latitude, description, last visited, and the set of primary keys that we have in the ER diagram can correspond one to their primary keys for our relation schema as well, right? So if we have this ER diagram, we can convert this into its relation schema directly, simply as this, right? Pretty simple. Okay. So let's look at this particular borrower table and customer loan relationship, right? So customer table had customer ID, name, street address, city, where customer ID was the primary key and the name of the entity was customer. We had loan that had loan ID and amount. The name of the entity was loan. Borrower was the relationship set between customer and loan, and borrower had its own descriptive attribute that was the access date. So forget about the relationship set that is borrower. Let's talk about the strong entities that we have, customer and loan. So for customer, we have customer ID, name, street address, city, where customer ID is primary key. Blah, blah, blah. Customer is the entity set. Customer ID is the primary key, name, street address, city. That is your relationship schema. Same goes with loan. Loan, where loan ID is primary key and the amount. Right? So if we have strong entity sets, we can convert them quite easily to its corresponding relationship schema. And given this, we can definitely convert this into our SQL program, right? Create table customer, customer ID, varchar 50, whatever, primary key, name, street address, city. Loan, loan ID, varchar, blah, 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 primary key, then amount, right? Okay. So now let's talk about the relationship set itself and how do we convert a relationship set into its corresponding relationship model. From the ER diagram, so how do we basically convert borrower into a relationship schema? Remember that if we want to convert borrower into its schema, we need, if you remember, customer ID and loan ID both to be its primary keys. Access date should also be an attribute. And both of these will be foreign keys because these are separate tables, and borrower would basically be another table that we need to create, right? So remember that. So how do we convert that? So we have a set of participation attributes, A1, A through, and all the way to AM. These are all the attributes that this particular relationship connects to. And these are the primary keys for those entity sets. Then we have B1, blah, 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 BI. Those are your descriptive attributes. Your relational model schema would have the primary keys for all the entities that your particular relationship connects to. Here we have only two entities that it connects to, so it has two primary keys. Here it has three entities that it connects to, so we have three entities it connects to, so we have three primary keys, right? So any number of n-ary